Hey, Scott. Thank you very much. Guys, you are in my trusty hands. I just want to make sure, though, before I start, that you can see my desktop and you can hear me okay. One more time in that chat box to let me know. Perfect. So Wednesday has rolled around again. This is the Q&A webinar session. So what we're going to do, treat it a little bit differently. I'm going to spend about the first 30 minutes or so going through some of the functionality. I'm going to spend the predominant time on the premium functionality. I'm going to go through Brokerage Plus a little bit today, talk a little bit about how the AI gets its data, how it really works after the market hours, like right now, what's it doing to get the strategies for you tomorrow. So I'm just going to go through that, but like I said, this is really an interactive webinar. I'm going to spend the first 30 minutes doing that. After that, you can fire off questions into the question panel, and I'll take them directly and see if I can answer any questions for you in that manner. In the meantime, Barry's also helping out with Scott in the question panel area. So if you do have some questions that are not necessarily directed just for me, you're welcome to fire them off in the first 30. So let's get going. Start off with the disclaimer. Trade Ideas, we are a software technology firm. We're not a registered investment advisor. So if you need that type of investment advice, please seek out an investment advisor. Do not take any of the information that I'm going to talk about here today as investment advice. Trade Ideas, we've been doing this for about 15 years. We think we're pretty good at what we do. We sit and we listen to all of the market data. We consolidate that market data in a data center in San Diego, and that's where we put our computers to the test, and we ingest that. We create new data in real time, and we provide this information out to you so that you can capitalize on market movements, so that you can participate in something happening in the market as it's going on, so you can make money. And that's what we do. That's all that we do. All that we do is find ideas. We're an idea generation technology. We started off with a single window 15 years ago. We've turned this into a platform. It's something that once you get comfortable with, once you understand the value, it's extremely difficult to navigate the markets without it. It's always looking for ideas. So this isn't a PowerPoint presentation or some type of presentation like that. So I'm just going to get rid of the screen here and bring up the software. I do want to show one thing specific to the alert window. The alert window, it's a chronologically based notification window. I've got an example of it here in the bottom left. So like I said, it's a platform. We've got all different types of windows, whether it's focusing on a single stock and getting data in that fashion, looking at analytics like charts. But the alert window is really where we started. And this is looking for some type of event that's taking place in the market and then bringing that to your attention, allowing you to then click on it, drill into it, see if it's something you want to participate in. So this is that standard alert window that I was talking about. I'm going to show you something a little bit different that I don't really get an opportunity to demonstrate to people oftentimes because it's after hours and the market's not really ticking quite as much. I've got this set up in a very normal fashion. So when a new post-market high event occurs, it's going to drop it right in the top of the window here. I've added a column called count. This is letting me know how many times a stock has made a post-market high. So what we can do here is we can do something unique and different. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this window, and just by right-clicking on any of our windows, it brings up that context-sensitive menu. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. So now I've got essentially a carbon copy of that window right over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double-click here over on the count column, because what I want it to do is I want it to highlight the stocks that have had the most post-market highs here, at the same time still giving me some real-time information. So I'm going to double-click on that. I'm going to leave this just as it is. I'm going to change this to descending because I want the highest number on top, and then I'm going to hit OK. So now this is going to build. I'm going to go ahead. I already opened this window up before the presentation, so it's already populated with more data, the same data that's over here. So I'm going to move it out, and I'm going to bring that other window in. Same exact window. It's sorted on the count here, and I'm going to make them a lot taller so you can see what's happening. This is just another abstract way to look at the data, but it's important to know that Trade Ideas is like a piece of clay. You can mold it to really do anything that you want to do. There's so many different ways to accomplish the same thing and little nuances of that along the way. So as new chronological highs are taking place here, I'm building the list over here, and you can see as a real-time update occurs, it's going to populate this list for me. So essentially, the stocks that have had the most new post-market highs are all going to rise to the top, but you're going to see every update, well, every update that has 2 or more highs, because that's the size of my window. So just another way, and I want you to kind of remember that, because as we, well, let me pull up another channel that we have that really illustrates that. So if I go to the surge channel, and for those of you that are new, we've created a channel bar. A channel bar is like we liken it to a remote control to the market. We've created a variety of pre-configured themes like pre-market, post-market, China stocks, stocks that are participating in a potential short squeeze, alpha predator stocks. All of these are pre-configured workspaces that we put together for you. And in each workspace, there are a variety of different windows that we've configured for you. And of course, everything can be modified, but it's a great starting point to really see how we've done things. So like I was saying, the surge channel. This is a nice channel because it's looking for stocks that have some type of price surge in combination with a volume surge. So the two of those together. But in one of these windows right here, this most upward momentum right now, this could really go unnoticed if you weren't aware of what I just showed you before. I'm gonna make this window a little bit bigger. And it's not going to be, again, that interesting right now because it's post-market, but when this window is really moving during the market, the same thing is going to happen here, where the stocks that have had the most new highs are going to be rising to the top here. And at any given time, if you want to clear that list out, all you need to do is right-click, select clear, and it'll start building that list fresh from that point on. So just a little nuance. I wanted to explain it because I think most people don't really understand that that's there, but there are really a lot of cool things that you can do with that group and sort feature. So you can double click on one of the column headings to do it, but you can also get to it through the right click menu. And so it's the right click, properties, and it's one of the view modes that we have. It's the group and sort. And it is kind of nested here in this menu. So if you weren't aware that it was there or you didn't know to click on that header column, then you wouldn't be aware of that little bit of functionality. Okay, so let's do just a few little moments here with the channel bar. Good place to start is the pre-market channel. This is going to identify stocks that are gapping up or gapping down in the day, and it's also going to give you a real-time notification of stocks that are having high volume or making those pre-market highs and lows. So everything in here, you can right-click and see how we put it together so that if you wanted to modify it, you could do that. The summary tab is a good place to start because you can see exactly how every setting is set up. But if you wanted to modify it, you can just click on one of the icons. You can do it here on the summary tab, or you can do it over here at the beginning where it indicates exactly what filters are set up. If you just left click on that, it'll take you right to the filter where you can modify it. So this is the, well, what is this one? This is the up gappers window that we've created, but if you wanted to modify it and you wanted to say, I only want to look for stocks between 5 and 20, this is how you kind of make it your own. And once you do that, every single window and every single group of windows or layout can be saved to your own cloud so you can pull it back later on. So I just made a modification to that. If I wanted to save it to my own cloud, I could save that one window or I could save the entire layout. And then once I do that, I can pull them right back up from the cloud right here. Some of the other channels that we have, and you can just scroll down and see the other channels. Price up movement and down movement. These are kind of interesting because they give you a multi-time frame perspective on what's happening in the market, what stocks are doing well today, over the week, over the month, over the year, both in a top list form, which is a ranked list of stocks based on the filtered criteria that you have, or an event notification window. This window here, the Trade Ideas Winner Watcher, for instance, is very similar to the alert window that I was showing you before, with the exception of this is a container that has, you know, about 20 different alert strategies all bundled into it, and each strategy has its own color scheme. So when it pops up, I can see the post-market highs, or I can see when something's making a climactic move that I may want to take notice of. Let's touch a little bit on our artificial intelligence channel. This right here is Holley AI. And what we do with Holley AI, we've created 40 different strategies for Holley to look at. And of these 40 different strategies, Holley goes through each one of these after the market. It uses our backtesting technology, which I'll show you. It uses that tool to really refine each of these strategies, basically look at the different filters that we have and adjust, modify the different filters to optimize the strategy. Once all the strategies have been optimized after the market, we look at a variety of different metrics, the profit factor, the win rate, and it determines which strategies are going to be present the next day for your trading. What we're left with today, these were the strategies that were available to us to trade. So we knew that these strategies were going to be visible, but we didn't know at the beginning of the market what stocks would be called out. Only when all the filtered criteria are met for these various strategies does a signal get generated. And when a signal gets generated, it's going to populate in this open positions window. And as time goes on, either because of a time expiration or because of a profit target being met or a stop loss being triggered or another exit algorithm, it'll then get moved over into the closed trade. And we monitor that P&L. We monitor the P&L when it's closed out, and we also monitor the P&L until the end of the trading day. So we keep essentially 2 profit and losses for every position. And that's what we call risk off and risk on. So today, risk off, that is if you were to get out of each trade when the system told you it should be getting out because of a stop loss or a timed exit, you would have lost $1.69. If you were trading 1 share, that would have been $1.69. If you were trading 1,000 shares, it'd be $169. So that would be, the way that this would work out. Everything in these windows here is sortable, right? So that you can take a look at what's happening right now. One of the great filters that we have, or great columns that we have, is this profit change last 15 minutes. So it's looking at each one of these positions and identifying how much has that stock moved over the last 15 minutes, so that you can always be notified when a particular symbol is starting to move in that. One of the things that we're working on, well, 2 of the different items that we're working on in the lab right now, we're working on a customized channel bar so that our end users can go ahead and add their own custom channels to this channel bar for easier retrieval. You guys can do it right now through the cloud, but it's just going to be a lot easier and more efficient to do it through the custom channel bar. And the other thing that we're working on is a secondary AI system. So we're always in the lab and we're always experimenting with the various AI strategies and techniques and algorithms that are used. And in doing so, we're kind of pushing the limits to the tech that we're doing. And this is just another example of something that we're going to be bringing to market here very, very shortly, multiple AIs and different ways to look at the market. So what I want to do, let's go back to the original AI, and I wanted to grab one of the strategies from today and show you how we work with the odds maker and how it looks at this data and determines the best way to optimize it. All right, so the first thing, let's take a look at the strategy bullish pullback. Okay, and so this is the strategy bullish pullback, and this is what we call, this is the base strategy. So this is the strategy that's used by Holley AI prior to the optimization run. This was prior to the optimization run yesterday afternoon. And instead of taking up the 5 minutes to run the odds maker on that, because it's a strategy that generates a lot of different results, I'm going to just drop in the image of that strategy run. So you look at it, oh darn. I've got this stupid little program that I added that combines my taskbars or my different windows, and it's terrible. Okay, so this is the odds maker run of it. And let's just explain what we're looking at here. So we're given some graphical information on the right, and we're giving some numerical information on the left with a little calendar. So let's go over that numerical information right here. Profit factor. So this is the sum total of all the winning trades over all the losing trades. A value of 1 would be equal, right? The same number of winners over losers from a dollar value perspective. Something lower than 1 is not good. Something higher than 1 is obviously better than 1. The total number of trades in the sample set, 1,155. Of all those trades, only 47% were winners. These are not good metrics, but we're showing you what can be done here through the use of the odds maker. And this isn't just the AI using the odds maker. I'm doing this demonstration so you can see what the AI does, but everybody that has access to the premium subscription has access to the odds maker. And that's the technology used to take a strategy and really refine it. And it just gives you the ability to kind of open up the strategy and look at how all the market data affects it. And not just the regular market data, the special market data that's specific to what we create at Trade Ideas. So what other things? Average winner to loser. I always want my winners to be bigger than my losers. So this isn't really a good metric either. Anyway, this isn't a strategy I would want to trade, but that's the optimization result of the base strategy. So now let's go ahead and let me pull in the optimized strategy. That's this guy right here. And it's a little bit smaller. There aren't going to be as many trades, so I can just run the back test accordingly here. So it's a long strategy. It will not trade for the first 15 minutes of the day. It's not going to trade for the last hour or initiate a position rather during the last hour and a half of the day. We're going to hold this position for 45 minutes. And that's when I said, you know, we keep track of 2 P&Ls. We keep track of the P&L when it exits, and we keep track of it all the way to the end of the day. So this is going to be exiting after 45 minutes, no matter what's happening, if the profit target or the stop loss wasn't hit. Risk management, I have a smart stop as my stop. It's an algorithm based on the stock's volatility, its range for the day, its relative volume. So it's custom to that stock, specific to the day. If it moves $1.50, I want to get out of it. And we're going to test it for the last 30 days. And let's just simulate the buy. So this is what the strategy looks like after it's been optimized a bit. And I'm going to bring this graphic back in here. Let's do this. I'm going to bring this in here. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to highlight the icons up at the top right here. So essentially this optimization run, it only added 4 different filters to the software. But those four different filters made the difference between a profit factor of 0.88 and a profit factor of 3.19. That means I could have my winners 3 times the amount of winners over what the losers were from a dollar value perspective. Instead of trading over 1,100 trades, this had a sample size of 91 trades. So we condensed it quite a bit. We made it more manageable. The average winner to loser, 25 to 22, that's still not great, but certainly much better than what we had before. And it's showing you that this is a strategy that could be traded and you can make money on something like that. And the way that you do it, so this, let me kind of show you the process that a user would go through. And this is essentially what we taught the AI to do as far as the optimization of trades, or filters rather. So you go to the optimization tab right here. Now the optimization tab has 4 different tabs inside of it. So if we look at price, this strategy can have a stock that is priced anywhere from $20 to $90. And we break that down in $10 intervals, and we can see how did we do for stocks that were priced between $20 and $30. Well, there were five of those trades that took place. 80% were winners. If I wanted to drill into it, I could drill into it and I could see exactly what were those symbols, what did I get in, what did I get out, and what was my profitability of those. But if I wanted to break it down, let's say into $5 increments, I could do that. And so this is what I mean by giving you the ability to kind of peer into the data. We're peering into the price of this particular strategy right now. I could peer into the time of day. Let's break it into 15-minute intervals and look at it. So remember, we weren't trading for the first half hour of the day. Market starts at 6:30 on the West Coast. So 7 o'clock could have been my first potential time. So between 7 and 7:15, there was only 1 trade. This is how I did. And it gives you that breakdown. Maybe I look at this, it's already an optimized strategy, so I probably don't want to do a whole lot of tweaking to it. But you know, maybe I don't want to trade this last 15 minutes between 10:45 and 11 o'clock. So that's the data that it's telling you right there. So the real powerful one is really this other filters tab right here. The other filters tab, when it's set up right, you have access to all the different filters that we have in trade ideas. So the 1 minute RSI, you can see exactly of these 91 trades that we're looking at, where does the 1 minute RSI fall and how did we do? Did we make money or lose money? And again, you can just go through all the different filters that we have here and look for something. If you come here to this 120-minute range and you see that you lost on these two trades and you lost on this trade and you lost on this trade, well, maybe getting into this particular pullback when the stock has moved over 6% over the last 2 hours, maybe it's not a good trade. And that's how you can look at the data. And like I said earlier, we use the regular market data like the 2 minute RSI. That's pretty, it's calculated, but it's calculated off of the standard price action. But then we do a lot of the other data that we put together. How much has the stock moved over 1 minute, over 30 minutes, relationships to the various moving averages, to the various pivots, to VWAP, fundamental data. So all of that here can be massaged and curated to create a strategy. And then, once you have a strategy that you like, once you have created something and pulled it together, let me close some of these windows. Let me bring this back and got to remember to delete that program. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bring in Brokerage Plus. So Brokerage Plus, and you can get to it right here from New Brokerage Plus. It's got the little B plus. This is a little tool that integrates currently with Interactive Brokers, and it allows you to take any strategy that you've created and automate it. And you can automate it in a perspective of fully black box, where you're letting it completely manage everything from stops to targets and time horizon, the whole thing, where you don't even touch it. Or you can treat it as a gray box and let it initiate the positions for you, and you manage them along the way according to how the market's going on, how the positions are doing. You become a portfolio manager. So there are a lot of different ways to use it, just like there are a lot of different ways to trade in the marketplace. So I'm taking a breath, and I just glanced up here at the questions, and Raul, I can't share that scan because that scan is one of our AI scans. Those AI strategies get optimized every single day, and at present, we're just not sharing the proprietary nature of it. You do have access to the results that are generated every day, but not the scan at this point. Hopefully I'm going to show you how you can, I'm going to show you, once you've created a strategy, how you can automate it yourself here through this particular tool. So out of the box, Brokerage Plus comes with these 4 different, I don't want to say strategies, even though they're in here on the strategies tab. They're really order types. They're order types that we put together for you so that you can start using Brokerage Plus right away. But effectively, you can change these, delete them, remove them, and create your own. And so before I show you how to bring in your own strategy, let me show you how you can modify these particular order types that you have. And remember, these order types, let me bring this up here, are available here through this right-click menu. So when you right-click on any Trade Ideas window that has a symbol in it, you have these different order types. So these order types are reflective of what's already here on the Strategies tab. So for instance, if I, instead of trading $5,000 at the market, if I right-click on here and edit the trading strategy, I could say, let's change this to $10,000 at the market. And all I need to do is just go through this here. This is going to be my position sizing. I'm going to make it $10,000. I could make it a share size or based on the stop loss. Keeping it at a market order, I could turn it into a limit or a limit delta. And so that's how I would change that order type right there. So now it says 10,000 at market. Now when I right click here, I've got this top one that says 10,000 at market. So these are just really just order buckets so that you can quickly get into a position and then manage it using Brokerage Plus as well. And that's really a pretty cool feature. The management of it gives you, very much like Holley, you've got this P&L graph so you can see how your portfolio has been profitable or not profitable from the beginning of your trading day, and you can see exactly how the historical nature of that plays out. So let's do this. Let me show you. I'm going to come back to this positions because there's so much that you can do with it. But what I want to do is I want to drop in a strategy here. And so let's do something like take this post-market high. This post-market high alert that I created, it's not anything but looking for post-market highs. So, but that's fine for this demonstration right here. What I want to do is I'm going to right-click in here, and there's two different ways that you can incorporate this strategy. Well, there are actually three different ways. You can load it from a cloud. You can, save it first and then load it from the cloud. So if I wanted to right here, go to Save or Share to Cloud and just go Save. I've saved my post-market high window. If I come up here, I can go Load to Cloud. There's my post-market high window. That's one way. If I hit load, it'll load it in there. Let's do another way. So let's go to, let's do this. Let's go here, and I'm going to right-click on this post-market high window. I'm going to go to Collaborate. And now I'm going to copy this link right here, putting it into my clipboard, my memory, so that when I come up to this Brokerage Plus window, I'm going to go to New Trading Strategy. So once I'm here, I can go into the configure area and define it. I could go in here and find my post-market high, find the alert, check it and do that. Or I can just go to this collaborate field here and paste it. So now it automatically pasted it in here. If I go into configure, I can see exactly what's going on, just my post-market high alert. So that's the strategy. I can tell it when I want to implement the position. It's not going to do it after hours here, but I could leave it wide open for the market. Other controls that I have, I can stop filling after a certain number of orders or stop sending after a certain number of orders. Again, what type of size do I want to trade here? I could do number of shares or a dollar value. How do I want to put that order to the market? Do I want to have a stop loss, profit target? I want to put a trailing stop. And then I can say, okay, I want to stay in this for an hour or 15 minutes before the close, or I don't even want to have a timed exit. You don't have to do that. And then hit OK. All right, so now we've added this particular strategy right here. And once it's been added, you need to turn it on. So I would click to enable it. And now it's been enabled and ready to go. So once you have positions that have populated here inside of the Brokerage Plus tab, or inside of the positions area of Brokerage Plus, then you're going to have your P&L graph taking place here. You're going to get some of that same metrics that we saw on the odds maker with respect to the profit factor, number of trades, your win percentage, your average winner, average loser. And then right here, you can do a lot of right click. So it's very, very smart. It knows kind of what you want to do or has the options available to you. So in this particular case, if I wanted to add a stop order, I could do that. Or I wanted to add a time stop or a target order, I can do that. If there was already one in there, these wouldn't be available, but the modify options would be available. And then once you do that, there's some great things because it'll tell you like how much time until the stop. So it's always, and you can have it then sorted based upon that, whether it's a time stop or the stop loss. All of that information is there. And then the orders tab. You know, when you're doing an automated order, it's sending out multiple orders through IB. It's sending out not only the initiation order, but once that order's been filled, then it's putting the stop in place, it's putting your profit target in place, and it's queuing up a time stop if none of those other orders have taken place there. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to take a break. We're about half into it. I'm going to look at the questions here, and you guys can direct me anywhere you want with respect to either what I've been talking about or any new direction. So Bill is asking, he has the pro version and can't find the odds maker. So it is in every alert window. It's also in multi-strategy windows. So for instance, let me go to the social. No, I don't want the social. Let's go to the, let's see if I can find a multi-strategy window. So there's one. So in an alert window via the right click, and I'll show you here, but let me pop one of these out. All right, so I have an alert window right here, and I have a multi-strategy right here. So for the alert window, if I just right click, I will get the backtest strategy option for any window that has the A. And if you're in a multi-strategy, these are all alert windows or alert strategies as well. You can right click in here, go over to strategies, and you can go in here and then you could backtest the strategy. I personally like to pop it out if I'm going to be working on it. I mean, you can certainly do it inside of the multi-strategy, but if you're going to get sophisticated with it, you may want to pop it out, do your work, and then you can pop it back in. And you pop it in through the use of the collaborate feature. So if I made a change to this one right here, I would just go to collaborate and I would copy it right into my clipboard. I would come over here and then I would just go into collaborate and then I would paste it. So I would override those settings. So no, David's asking if Brokerage Plus can trade options. Right now it's solely equity focused. Yeah, so Kareem's asking about getting Holley to automatically fire off trades in Brokerage Plus, and you know, we are moving that direction. We definitely made a conscious effort initially not to do it because we wanted to really experiment with the technology and not have people tied into the automation. But I think we're getting a lot closer to the point where, especially as we introduce our second, you know, we're going to introduce second Holley, but there are going to be more after that. So I do feel like we're going to get closer to the automation of our artificial intelligence signals. Yeah. So Waleed, Brokerage Plus, it can be fully automated, fully black box, or like I said earlier, it can be gray box where you kind of take control of it after the positions have been initiated. You know, and similarly, you can go ahead and initiate a position manually. It'll appear in your Brokerage Plus, even if you did it from IB, and then you have the ability to right-click on your position in Brokerage Plus and set stops or time stops and such. Yeah, so William's asking about Holley for swing traders. And you know, here's the deal, William. We design, or our goal is, let's put it this way, our goal is for all of these positions, these signals to be profitable at the end of the day, right? They're all designed with a time stop in mind, and there's some protective measure associated with that. But the net is these are all designed to be profitable at the end of the day. And if you're so lucky to get a situation where you are in some profitable trades at the end of the day, and the market indicates to you such, you know, holding these positions are very, very fruitful to do. You know, we've got strategies like the 5-day bounce that triggered yesterday. I don't know if it was present today, but it triggered yesterday, and those signals are not meant for just a single day. And for instance, let me just pop that up and show you one of the things that you can do with Holley, and one of the things that we've recently added to it is the ability to pull up some history. So let's broaden this here, right click, I'm going to go to history, and I could pick a date range. I could say last week or something, but I could just go yesterday. And yesterday here, if I just look at, say, the 5-day bounce, I guess there was only one. Interesting. How could that be? That's wrong. So there's some bug going on here. I'll have to look at that. But so these were the signals here on the 5-day bounce, and a lot of them, well, if you look at the risk on profit, that's your profitability at the end of the market. If you look at your risk off profit, that's the profitability when you got out of it. That's the exit time right here. So a lot of times what I like to do is, you know, build a symbol list. So it could be all of yesterday's Holley trades. It may just be the long positions, and build a symbol list off of that. So if we pull some of these up here, it doesn't look like that thing did anything. Let me change the time frame here. Let's go to like 15 minutes. Look at a couple days, and let's just see exactly, you know, what happened. And I haven't pulled anything up, but with just looking at this, looks like it could be a pretty nice swing opportunity. You know, look at this was a 5-day bounce. This thing had a tremendous pullback into some range of support, and you know, trading is an art. Trading is not a science, and there are multiple ways to to slice and dice any particular trade here. But there are multiple things that have to go into consideration. How did the market close yesterday? What's going on? What global events are going on? What could possibly affect it? But I like when I've been watching these for quite some time, and this is one of the strategies that, to me, even if they don't end up necessarily being positive on a risk-on perspective on that day, I like to grab the symbol list, or I like to set price alerts, and price alerts are another great way to, so we had this 5-day bounce on this particular symbol yesterday. Nothing much happened. The thing to do would be to right-click and put in your price alert, and you put your note AI trade on 4-3 and whatever note you want. And when that stock crosses that particular threshold, you'll get notified of it. And it's amazing how many times those visual thresholds work to a pullback too. I mean, it's just something that is very prevalent in the market. And so it's kind of the 1-2 punch of using the Holley AI signals and the price alerts and the symbol lists. I mean, it's just a lot of different ways to get the information and to extract it. All right, let's see here. I can filter. So David's asking about, are we working with other companies other than IB? And presently we are just working with IB, but that's something that I envision changing by the end of the year as well, to be working with a variety of other brokers in the space. So Steve's asking about our crypto, and that is active in our development. Nothing ever goes fast enough, quite honestly. They're there. They'll probably be there doing this for another couple months before we have something that we can ingest out of it. But I'm confident by mid-year we'll have something in that area, and it'll be pretty cool. I'm sure of that. Well, not everything. Joe's asking if everything that I'm talking about is premium, and not really. I mean, I am talking about AI, and the AI is premium, and Brokerage Plus is. But I mean, the real heart of trade ideas, the real heart of it is the alert technology, the top list technology, our charting. That right there is the standard functionality, and all of those signals can be created and crafted using the standard technology or the standard product. Anything else, guys? Come on. Let me show you, while you're coming up with something, let me show you a little bit about coloring, because coloring is kind of confusing if you don't know what you're doing, but it's really cool if you do. Let's just pop open like a top list. And I'm going to hide it here for a second. Let me delete some things. All right, so I'm going to bring it back. So this is a top list right here. It's not colored. You may find yourself in that kind of situation where you're here and you want to kind of make some use out of the coloring to get the most out of it. So this is a window that has stocks that are both up and down. So let's color it first of all on its change for the day. Now let's not do that. Let's color it, since this is a volume window, let's color it based on the relative volume. And then we'll worry about the whether it's up or down. So let's go to properties and let's go to select colors. So this is going to be how we're going to colorize the entire window, and we're going to do it based on volume, and we're going to do it based on relative volume. So if we look at this right here, and I'm going to do it from scratch. There's some ways I could instantly pop in colors, but I'm going to kind of do it from scratch. And if we're looking at this data, I've got a low number of 5, or no, I've got a low number of 2.5 and a high number of 40. But 40 is kind of an outlier. 20 is probably good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my volume level from 0 to a high of, I'm not worried about the colors yet, to a high of 20. And you see all the predefined colors here have 5 different kind of color breakpoints. So I'm going to put 5 different breakpoints in here. Let's do 5. Let's do 10. And one more would be perfect. That's 15. So works out good. I've got 5 different colors. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this. Let's do this one here. Let's do this green. Now let's do this black, this kind of charcoal gradient right here. So now what I've got set up is stocks that have a higher relative volume are going to be darker. Stocks that have a lower relative volume are going to be lighter. So that looks like it's probably right. It could be good. Now what I want to do is I want to do my change from the close. So let's hit OK here. And then this change from my close, I'm going to do percentage. And if I do the same thing, I see a high of down 40% to up 30%. So that's kind of my range that I have. So let's right click right up here. And that means I can colorize just the change from the close column. And I think I'm going to do it based on well, 20. That's going to be my breakpoint. So I'm going to start off with 0, 10, 20. And now I know there are guys that are negative, so I'm going to put in the negative value. So now I've got my breakpoints here, and I'm going to bring in this color scheme. It fits in perfect, and let's hit OK. So now I've got kind of a I don't like the way this kind of turned out, but it's a colorant. I can see the stocks that have super high relative volume based on this dark line that I have, and then I can tell very quickly, is it up or is it down? So again, I'm not happy with it, but that's kind of how you would use that coloring. So Bill's asking, please put the don't repeat into the RBI 30 premium alert. So you're probably talking about our premium RBI and GBIs, and you want to don't repeat in here. Well, one of the things, we just had our monthly priority meeting, and one of the things that we put onto the to-do list is to migrate these RBI and GBI premium signals right into the trade ideas alerts. So you would find it, more so in here, right click, and you would find, your RBI, GBI. It'll be a different signal that we're putting together. So I think that'll solve your problem, because you're going to have the don't repeat there as well. So yeah, Joe's asking about back testing in the standard. Just like the price alerts, the back testing we give 10 trials to. For price alerts, you get the ability to set up 10 different price alert signals. And you could delete 2 and then add 2 more. So you always have that ability with the standard subscription. So David's asking about a back button for the surfing, and I have had a bunch of requests for that. Not recently, but when we first came out with it. It's not on the to-do list, but I will take your comment and add it to our discussion next time we talk about it. Yeah, so Marcia, you're asking, you don't see the volatility. I don't see the volatility filter used too often. Can you set up a very simple scan using that filter? It's funny you said that, because I was doing something today based on a request that I had from someone using that volatility filter. So I'm just bringing it over here, and this isn't really a scan. Well, it is a scan. It's a top list that I put together. Let me close these other guys here. We don't need any of this. And I'll show you what I did. So first of all, in the software, volatility. Let me bring up the configuration. We've got a couple filters for volatility, and I'll talk about this volatility dollar, because this is a filter that we have. It's a historical filter, so it's calculated overnight. Like right now, it's going to be calculated for after the market today. It'll be calculated for the stock, and it won't change tomorrow when you're looking at it. But what the volatility is, it's a historical number that looks at how much, on average, a stock moves over a 15-minute period of time. So the volatility for Google, for instance, is far different than volatility for Apple, or far different than the volatility for a $2 stock, right? So these all have very specific metrics that are tied to a stock's average movement. And so what I did here with this particular example, I used, let me duplicate this and you can kind of see what I did. Properties, text headers. So I used a couple custom filters to get to where this is going to, I hope this doesn't confuse people, because it was kind of confusing, but let me explain what we did. I added the volatility column right here so that we can see on all the stocks here, what is the average movement of this particular stock over a 15-minute period of time. So pretty big volatility for this guy right here. Then we have, what I did was I wanted to take the average. So this is over a 15-minute period of time. So I wanted to take, what is it over a 5-minute period of time? But all I wanted to do is just kind of divide this by 3 to get that number, right? So I have this filter. So I used my custom filter to take this volatility and divide it by 3 to get my 5-minute metric for volatility. And then in our software, I have the stock's 5-minute range. So I know how much a stock has moved for every stock over the last 5 minutes. And I just put that, that's a standard filter that we have, so I just put that data in here. And then I created what we call a range motion ratio. And this range motion ratio is kind of taking a look at how much that stock has moved over the last 5 minutes and compares it to how much it moves on average over that 5 minutes. Taking that custom filter, so I'm dividing these two by each other, and it created a ratio. And that ratio allows me to see exactly, what stocks are starting to pick up. Where's the volatility starting to pick up? Again, this isn't going to be that interesting post-market, an hour and 50 minutes after the close, but something like this might be interesting during the market and giving you that kind of instant notification of when a stock's range is starting to explode. So that's all I really have on that, Marcia. Yeah, I'll do that. Here's the thing. Let me pull that up. Let me pull up my custom filter page. Oh my God, I did it again. All right, so it's on our support tab. You go to our support tab, go to account management, go to custom formulas, and let's just go into these 3. You may want to take some screenshots here or just kind of jot it down. It's super simple though. So the first thing is to figure out what the average 5-minute volatility, is I just took our volume weighted volatility, that's the filter, and I have all of the filter codes right here. So if you open the stuff in a new tab, you can see every one of the filters that we have. This is the code that we use for that. So volume weighted volatility, that's our volatility filter right here. So VWV. Just come here, and I took that and I divided it by 3. So that gave me, get this out of here. So that gave me average 5-minute volatility. That's this guy right here. Volume weighted volatility by 3. So that's that guy. And then let's go back here and let's this range motion filter. Let's go ahead and edit it so you can see what I did. And I just took the range over the last 5 minutes and I divided it by that 5-minute volatility, right? That volume weighted volatility divided by 3. Put that in parentheses because that's its own little unit right here. And that's how you get the range motion. I mean, there are so many. Let me log out of this account right here. I'm going to show you my other account. I mean, there are infinite things that you can do with respect to taking the data that we've created and massaging it to give you just interesting things. You know, on a percentage basis, how far is the stock away from the 52-week high? Debt divided by revenue. This is an interesting one. You know, how is the volume over the last 5 days compared to the volume over the last 10 days? Is the volume picking up? So do that in conjunction with a high volume day, and you can start to see something moving, as opposed to just a high volume day 3 days in a row, you know, where it's starting to change the shape. Increasing volume, this is a really cool one. One of the things that we're adding on our product roadmap is the volume over the last 2 minutes. So in this right here, I'm comparing the volume over the last 1 minute, comparing that to the volume over the last 5 minutes. We're adding another data point in here shortly. But there's just so many different things that you can do, and you don't need to be a programmer to do this by any means. It's just a little bit of logic, and we give you some examples in the documentation. At the bottom of this page right here is this little help file right here, this little PDF. I mean, it's like a 6-page or 9-pager, and it's just, I mean, it kind of explains it all to you. So if you're interested and you want to play around with that, that's available to everybody. You don't need to be a premium subscriber for that. So once you have, you know, once you have those particular custom formulas added, so you would have to add those custom formulas. I'll just save and share this now. And I'll drop it here in the chat. But for that to work, you're going to need to add those. And if you didn't get those, you can just shoot us an email to info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll shoot you back the instructions on how to do it, or we could even just pop them into your account for you. But I haven't tested this that much. This was something I was just working on, so it was just happened to be on my desktop. I'm thinking it'll be kind of cool, but there may be some other things that need to go into it. So anything else, guys? Let me know if I've missed any of your questions. Sometimes they kind of scroll by there. All right, so I'm going to bring Scott back and kind of wrap this up. It looks like there aren't any more questions. Scott, are you there, my friend?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone, for attending. A couple things on the way out. I want to make sure everyone's aware we have an ebook that's very timely for the current state of what's going on with the market. When you can't just buy the dip anymore, get 5 strategies to keep in your trader toolbox. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook and get the free download. We have a discount code for you this month for this webinar. It's Spring for Holley. Just type that in all caps when you're doing a checkout, and you will save 15% off your first year or month of Trade Ideas Premium or Standard. You can also use this when you're upgrading from your account management section off of the website. To upgrade from Standard to Premium, just use the same code when you select change your subscription from the choices. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We have a podcast that'll come out on Friday. And we're on season 2. I think we've got about 55 or 58 episodes out there. So get on the bandwagon. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast in whatever application you listen to podcasts in, and subscribe. Get the archived episodes. It's good stuff. Any questions, shoot us an email to info@trade-ideas.com. And you can follow Dan at Trade Ideas 1 on Twitter. You can follow Steve Gomez at Today Trader. You can follow Jamie at QuantBot. All kinds of things to do. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro, and we'll share everything we post with your buddies. Thanks all. We'll have a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Barry. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.